John Ward, who this afternoon will send out Beethoven in the Holy Bull Stakes. John, Mark and Mike here in upstate New York, welcome back to Down the Stretch.
Well, I'm glad to be back. It's always a pleasure and a privilege.
Well, we're glad to be with you, John. John, we'll get started. You and Mr. Oxley had this guy's sire, Sky Mesa, the winner of the Hopeful at Saratoga in 2002. Are there similarities between Sky Mesa and Beethoven?
Well, I think in personality there are a lot of similarities. They're both kind of very alert horses. Running style, they kind of like to leave their running a little bit, settle into stride, and then kind of just come on their own. So yeah, there are a lot of similarities to both animals.
John, he was a Keeneland September purchase for $300,000. What did you folks like at that time when you saw him?
Well, I thought he was, like I said, I thought he looked a lot like Sky Mesa, but I thought he was a little bit of a refined version. And Mr. Oxley liked the pedigree with a little bit more speed on the bottom. Sky Mesa had been bred to so many classic kind of horses that he wanted to see a little bit more speed put into it. So that's what we got. We got a pretty productive animal.
Oh, you do ever. And we're going to look at part of that production right now. John, Beethoven and you are making your 3-year-old debut off the Kentucky Jockey Club last fall at Churchill. We're going to be watching him here. He will be, for our audience, number 3, 5th on the rail at the top of the screen. Actually, not a good part of this race. This race was marked by a furious finish. Your guy's bravery on the turn. As we watch him, tell our audience about this effort last fall.
Well, he ran from just off the pace. He ran on top of the fence, which is other races he'd come wide on. You'll see him make a little stutter step about the 5/16 pole where he jumped a shadow from being kind of immature. But down through the lane, he really fought it out with those horses, and Calvin Burrell just rode them magnificently. In the last couple of jumps, you'll see Calvin relax on this horse. This horse just finished really, really well.
We're going to watch for it. They're heading into the turn now, and he's going to be heading for home shortly. John, this afternoon in the Holy Bull, your post-11, this has to be a concern coming back.
Well, it is. It's totally a big concern because I think Big Brown's the only horse that's won from out there going
there
mile 1/8. And the other concern to me is a weight spread, like I think Kenny was on there, McPeak before. Giving him 8 pounds is a pretty good feat this time of the year, especially us carrying 22 and the rest of them carrying about 114. So I think the racing secretary kind of bribed some people into the field, I'd
say. John, we never hear you stammer. This is important.
Well, it's important that we make a profit and we have full fields, but sometimes some of us got to sacrifice.
And finally this morning, John, and we are pleased that you're with us, you did get the 2-turn experience into him last year as a 2-year-old. I don't know if you look at them all differently, but if you have your druthers, do you like to get that out of the way at 2?
I really do. I think it came up very well. Probably the most fortunate thing for us is when he got beat at Keeneland. Biarano we were second in a very good closing effort, but that left me an allowance race to go in at Churchill, other than around 2 turns, which he won, and then allowed me to come back in the stakes. So I really am happy with the fact I've got so much experience. I haven't had to hone on them going into the spring campaign. And I was really happy about everything coming into this till I got the 11th hole. Now I got to be concerned that I get enough piece of earnings that I can maybe stay away from this horse and give him 60 days between his next race.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, John, Mark and I and our audience are happy you're with us this morning. Good luck this afternoon in the Holy Bull. He's a fine colt, and we're looking forward to seeing him, and all the best to you.
Well, thank you, and I think you'll see a masterful ride out of Burrell. He is really a nice jock. He's very organized, and I really like the young man.
Okay, John, until next time, all the best. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with John Ward, who's been down this trail before with Monarchos and Mr. Oxley.
Thank you very much, John. Quick reminder here for those of you who would like to correspond with us here at Down the Stretch. Here are the ways in which you can do that. Through the United States Postal Service, Down the Stretch, Mark and Mike, Capital District OTB 510 Smith, Schenectady, 12305, or electronically at viewermail@capitalotb.com. And also, if you would like to get an early preview of each week's edition of Down the Stretch, go to capitalotb.com, click on either Mark Hassan